takes more than a green thumb to be a successful gardener. There are light, moisture, and nutritional factors to consider. In Middle Tennessee, we live in Zone 6, a transitional climate that presents its own gardening challenges. Evelyn Hadley is going to discuss these challenges with horticulture expert Jim Janowski. Evelyn and Jim are going to talk about plants, shrubs, and trees and how to feature them in landscaping.
I'm Evelyn Hadley at Nashville State Community College. Today we're here with Jim Janowski, and he's coordinator for our horticulture and landscaping program. Jim, it's great to have you here, and we're outside on such a beautiful day. And just want to ask you, what type of plants are good for a beginner gardener?
Well, in the landscape, Middle Tennessee has a wide range of shade trees and perennials and turf species. We're kind of in a transition zone between the northern and the southern climate, subtropical climate. So we have a large variety of plants that would grow. We have the oaks and the maples and the redbuds and the dogwoods, roses and the full range of perennials, lilies, tulips, the bulb type flowers, grasses, all types of grasses, cool and warm season grasses, wide range.
Since now the leaves are falling and all these things are happening, we're in the transitional season. Tell us a little bit about what to do with our leaves.
Leaves, well, you do want to get them off the turf areas, either hire out a landscaper to remove them or remove them yourself. They could be composted in a compost pile on your property. Mix a little bit of soil with the organic material, add a little bit of fertilizer, keep it moist, and hopefully in the spring you'll have a good organic amendment.
Okay. Now we're sitting here with ivy. So with a beginner gardener, would ivy be a good plant to use in the garden?
Ivy is a pretty hardy plant. It's hard to kill ivy.
Okay.
It does have some nutritional needs. It does have some light needs. The part of this bed here is a little sparse because it doesn't receive the light intensity that it would like, although it does receive a few hours every day of the sun. One problem with ivy is it's a broadleaf evergreen. It really doesn't lose its leaves in the winter, so it can be subject to transpiration water loss in the wintertime. So you can have some winter burn with it, but if you fertilize it, water it early in the spring, it usually comes back. But it's a very hardy plant.
Okay. When you get into fertilizing and all these kinds of things with your plants, tell me about soil testing. What would a person do in terms of having their soil tested in order to have healthy plants?
Well, there's two components of the soil that you need to pay attention to. One is the physical properties, the particle size, and you change that by adding peat moss or sand or some other organic amendment. The other part is soil pH and the nutrient levels. And you can test that by taking a soil test out to Ellington Agricultural Center. There are private labs that do it. You can buy little test kits at garden centers and do it at home. So there's several different techniques you can do soil testing with. Probably the formal test costs a few dollars in the spring. Is probably the best way to go.
Okay, all right. Tell me, when you talked a little bit about composting, what does that do to amend the soil? What kind of chemical changes happen?
Composting makes the soil more porous because it adds organic matter between the soil particles. So if you have a heavy clay soil, the compost humus breaks up and gives the soil porosity, which lets air come into the root zone, and that's a big thing in growing plants successfully, the physical characteristics of the soil.
Now, we here at Nashville State, we offer you the coordinator for the horticulture landscaping program. Tell me a little bit, if I'm going to take Introduction to Horticulture, what will I be able to do, or what kind of knowledge base will I have once I go through that particular class?
Well, the introduction course is basic plant science. So if you have a love of plants but really don't understand the science behind it, that would be a good course to take. And growing plants is not a matter of having a green thumb, it's understanding the plant processes. So there's a science to it and there's an art to it. If you have the art without the science, the plants won't do well. So the Introduction to Horticulture is basic plant science.
Okay. So let's talk about this. And here in Middle Tennessee, we experience all the seasons. So we see the trees changing and all that kind of thing. Let's go ahead and talk about trees here in Middle Tennessee.
All right, there's some over there.
Okay, all right. Jim, we're approaching the oak tree here on the campus.
Right, it is fall, it is autumn, and so the chlorophyll, the green pigment, is starting to break down, and some of the other pigments that have been there all summer are starting to be seen. Eventually, as it gets colder and windy, little separation layers will form, and these leaves will all come off. That's the adaptation that the plant has made for the wintertime to reduce surface area, so it restricts moisture loss.
Okay, so tell me about, this is what's happening this fall. So what else happens springtime and all during the seasons that we have here in Middle Tennessee?
Well, to go through the cycle, at this time of the year, all this sugar that's being produced in the remaining leaves is going down into the stems and the roots, and that's an energy source. So when spring comes and the temperature and light is more intense, the tree will refoliate, use those carbohydrates to build new tissue, and then it'll go into another vegetative growth mode, put on new leaves, new branches, new twigs, and then in the fall, of course, it will lose its leaves again.
Jim, with new home development here in Middle Tennessee, what does a person need to do in order to have their home landscaped?
Well, first you have to get a sense of what type of soil you have. There's a lot of heavy clay soil in Middle Tennessee. You also have to know the plants that are used in landscapes, and also you have to have a design plan. We have courses in all three of those subjects that help. And once you have a plan, it's just a matter of installing the right material in the right place at the right time.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more about the degrees and certificates that you can receive here at Nashville State Community College in the horticulture program.
We have a 32 credit technical certificate in horticulture. We have Associate of Applied Science 2-year terminal degree with an emphasis in horticulture, and we have the first 2 years of a 4-year track in horticulture.
Okay.
But people come in just for a course or two, or some people come in for the whole program.
Okay. So with our students, about what's the percentage of placement with our students that are graduating out of our programs?
The placement is good, but a lot of them start their own businesses, in primarily landscaping, lawn care. We have a lot of career changers that have been in a career for 10 or 15 years but love plants but don't understand the science behind plants. So they're finding success with the program.
Jim, this has been very informative, and I know a lot of people have gotten quite a bit of information. Now, if you want to learn more about the horticulture program here at Nashville State Community College, who would they contact?
People could call me at my office, which is 353-3348, or they can look at the school website, and all of our horticulture offerings are there.
Okay. Right.
There's a hedge over there I'd like you to see.
Okay, all right.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. Just think, next time someone mentions surgical technology, horticulture, or sign language, you'll have an appreciation of these exciting fields and how they positively impact our world. Join us next time as we discuss big business. We'll explore the subjects of office administration, computer accounting, and business management. See you then.